following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, March 9th, 2022, Season 17, Episode number 107. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, and today we're talking franchise tags, we're talking free agency, we're talking about all the things that go into creating an NFL football team, and the Cowboys are sitting at the cusp of it. Next week it begins in earnest, and we'll talk about all that. We're going to go through the full list of free agents and get everybody's opinions on what they think is going to happen, what they think should happen. Those two things don't always match up.
Does it begin in earnest? Because we cover the Cowboys. I'm just saying.
Good point.
I'm just
Good
saying.
point, Dave. Good point. I stand corrected.
It's a long month of doing deals and signing guys.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're expecting the Cowboys to jump in next week and be signing guys that haven't already worn a star, you probably might want to kind of just get some good perspective on
Seeing
that
a lot of Bobby Wagner questions, and I'm just like, do you guys follow this team? What are we doing here?
It's funny. Right before the show, Nick and I were talking, and I was kind of like, man, kind of like to see Bobby Wagner in a Cowboy uniform. That would be real good. But
so is Dan Quinn. He's doing that too.
Yeah,
he's like, man,
Maybe Dan can make it happen. We can sit here and complain till our faces turn blue, but if the DC wants him,
yeah,
maybe.
Big
maybe.
Big maybe. All right, let's jump in. I do want to talk first about the franchise tag. Dalton Schultz gets franchised. First of all, you guys tell me why. Why did they end up having to franchise him? Because I think there are a lot of people out there, if you listen to sports talk radio, you watch the sports shows, you watch even the fans talking about it on Twitter, I think a lot of people are like, why would the Cowboys use the franchise tag on Dalton Schultz? Y'all don't have answers?
No, I got an answer.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
I think they thought that they were over a barrel, to be honest with you. I mean, it's ironic. You asked me about Blake Jarwin last week, and I think they've known this for a little while. It escaped media attention for a minute. Blake Jarwin is not a guarantee to be ready to play next year. Like, this is a really awful injury that he's going to be dealing with. I don't think they can count on him. I'm not trying to write his career off, but I think he's going to be up against it to like come back and play football at like a professional level. Yeah, no, This is a big injury. It's a big deal. So you lose him, and the guys behind him are Sean McCune and Ian Bunting, and maybe they bring back Jeremy Sprinkle, but again, that's not something you can count on. And tight end has been an important part of this offense. Dak has a great relationship with Dalton Schultz. Call him a safety net, call him whatever you want, but I think they were like, we can't afford to have nothing. Say what you will about whatever they might do with Amari Cooper, but they can find other options there. They've got CeeDee Lamb. They're trying to bring back Michael Gallup. They don't have anything if they don't have Dalton Schultz, and so I think that kind of forced their hand a little bit.
It's the cheapest option to get a quality tight end. I mean, other than because you don't know about the draft, you don't know who you're going to get and when. I mean, Jason Witten was the best tight end the Cowboys have ever had. It took him, for his rookie year, he wasn't much of, he was a pretty good player, but he still was a backup. So my point is that he's probably going to make more than that on the open market. Like I think he would have made more than 11 million. I'll
go as far as to say, yeah, definitely.
13, 14 was being discussed. Who knows if he gets that?
Now, the cap number would have been less. Let's be clear about that.
Sure.
Because
the
it would have been
cap
able to
number's
space
less,
it
and the
out.
Cowboys are going to try to do something like that. But, to try to probably sign him to a longer-term deal, I would think. I don't think this is a prove-it year for him. I mean, I don't think they can carry that $11 million number for that long. So I think they would like to get a different deal. But, my only question about Schultz is, do we know that Dalton Schultz is really a good tight end without the double teams that Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb have commanded on the outside? Do we know that? Because if he's like the main guy, the main focus, I mean, this isn't Travis Kelce running around that you have to game plan for. I don't believe. But
Yeah, no,
that's going to be the tricky part. I've seen all the stuff on Twitter, and I don't know if I disagree. Well, he doesn't block well. He doesn't get any, yards after catch. I mean, what does he do? He's just the guy that catches the ball and takes advantage of the scheme. True. Is that worth $11 million? Well, we're going to find out.
Well, I
don't think so.
And again, I think their hand was forced a little bit here, like I said, and I think their logic. Not saying I completely agree with it. I think I've said as many times as I can that I think it would be lunacy to cut Amari Cooper, but to Nick's point, I mean, something's got to give at some point. They just added an $11 million charge on top of already being over the salary cap. They did restructure Dak and Zach to create $22 million. They're still over, as far as I know.
Because I thought, how much were they over before that?
They were 17 to 20 over,
Right.
and you add 11 on top of that.
Oh, you're saying, with the
Yeah.
11 and then the 22, you're still
They
over.
still have
Yeah,
work
yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
But so what I was going to say, so I think that would be dumb. I don't think they should cut Amari Cooper. If anything, I think they should restructure him and push some of his money into the future. But I can see a logic in their minds where they're like, well, we can recreate our receiver core. That is more doable. We can sign Michael Gallup to a team-friendly deal. We've got CeeDee Lamb. There's freak receivers in the draft every
All
year.
throughout, yeah.
We can find a guy in the top 3 rounds that can step in and play right away and maybe sign a cheap veteran to go on top of that, kind of like what they did with Allen Hurns or somebody like that.
Noah Brown is that?
No, Noah Brown is not that. No offense to him. I'm proud of that guy, man. He's about
He
to start.
keeps making it work,
He's
man.
he's going to get his NFL pension out
That's
of being
what
a
I'm talking
7th round draft
Do your
pick. Good
thing.
for him.
Yeah.
But I think that they think
He's played 4 years. He said 4 words. I mean, but it's worked.
Hey, man.
they can.
does his thing.
I never knock a man's hustle,
I think that they think that they can recreate their receiver core a little bit more easily than they can find a serviceable tight end. Because you think about Dalton Schultz, it took him 2 years to be a useful player. And unless you're drafting a Kyle Pitts or a TJ Hawkinson, who are top 10 picks, you're not getting that guy in the draft. It's very rare to find a tight end who can step in and be useful right away, unless you're using a big pick on him. So
That's what I was going to ask you about the draft, because I know tight end is not a position that I've really heard people talk about in general, and also tying it back to the Cowboys. And I haven't looked at the free agency list of around the NFL, but there are no really. Is there not a name?
3 tight ends have been franchised at this point.
Yeah.
Like that was the interesting thing to me.
who's the third besides Njoku and Dalton? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm trying to remember who it was. Hold on, let me think.
Yep.
But
But I mean,
I have to look it up.
and a lot of that goes to the fact that it's not a huge number. I know it sounds like it is $11 million, but for the franchise tag,
Not by NFL standards.
really not.
Yeah.
So that it kind of makes more sense, and that's probably what Travis Kelce and George Kittle and those guys would like to see happen, is just raise that room.
Which Mike Gesicki is the third, and I bet he feels some type of way about it because he's barely a tight end. He's he's the Jimmy Graham split off the line way more often than he's in line doing stuff.
Evan Ingram kind of guy.
The list is
Evan Ingram, not Jimmy Graham. I mean, let's don't put Gesicki in the Jimmy Graham. He's more Evan Ingram.
I'm not.
than Jimmy Graham.
I'm
I know
not
what you're
comparing
saying.
their skill sets.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Jimmy
Gesicki
Graham
had a pretty good year this last year,
did.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
He hasn't. I mean, Jimmy Graham set the
that year
record
in
for
New
tight
Orleans
end
was
touchdowns.
crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
he was trying to change rules and stuff.
You got Zack Ertz, who at this point is more name than player. Jimmy Graham is definitely more name than player. Rob Gronkowski lives in his own world. I don't
know that he even wants to play.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't know if he wants to play, and even if he does, he's just going to sign where he wants to. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't any of that stuff. Eric Ebron, who's more name than player. CJ Uzomah, the Cincinnati guy who
Got hurt, right?
He did get hurt,
Ebron does interest me a little
and I
bit.
also think he'll command a pretty big deal if I had to guess as well.
Because things I've heard suggest that Ebron is a much better blocker than any guy they got on this roster, which I think that's a part they've been missing in their tight end room for a long time. They have not had a good blocker maybe since Martellus. And I think they really should invest in one of those. So if Ebron could be that for them, that's a nice guy to kind of maybe look at.
What are we doing here? It's over. I mean,
Yeah,
Schultz is the guy.
I mean, they made the
We're over here
decision.
discussing all
Well,
this.
this was last week.
But they're still going to need another tight end, right?
Yeah, but
They
not
gotta
Eric
go-
Ebron. I mean, like,
Is Ebron at the point where he's just like going to break the bank? I don't think so.
they
But he'll be worth enough money that I doubt that they
Really?
would pay.
guys
Yeah.
like-
See, I look at Ebron as one of those guys, kind of like the kinds of guys they bring in, like a Carlos Watkins, kind of toward the end of his career.
Maybe. Let's talk about
you
this
could probably
next
get him
week.
for
Or actually, let's talk about this in 2 weeks when that's when they're
Right.
going to start free
you
agents.
see who's
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They like who they like. They like Noah Brown. We just talked about Noah Brown. They like Sean McEwen. And I'm not saying you shouldn't because everything we've ever seen out of him seems like, oh, okay.
They like guys they don't have to spend money on. We can say it. It's fine.
Well, everybody does that. I mean, like,
Well, they spend
Because-
they spend enough
you
money.
can't
That's
have-
why they're over the cap.
well,
Yeah,
well,
well,
that's
they're
the
spending
thing.
money.
Like,
Yeah.
just
Look where
How's
we're
that
at.
going?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how's
they're
that going?
spending money. I don't think the
Problems
money is the issue. I don't think the spending money is the issue.
they got high profile guys.
Yeah.
And right now, like, I heard some people talking about this, like, did the window close on the Cowboys because they didn't win with Dak's contract the way it was? But I mean, your two best defensive players are sitting there probably making a combined $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
So get it done because I promise you next year. Well, no, not next year. I was thinking this is 2 years.
No, next- next-
he can make a
year.
request next year.
Diggs will, that'll be interesting. We'll see what.
As long
Diggs
as
does.
Trayvon doesn't fall off a cliff, he's probably going to have something to say about that
if
next year.
Diggs gets in the range of even 6, 7 interceptions or something like that, they don't have to do that. 11 is just crazy. That ain't gonna happen again. I say that.
Even he could finish with 4, and then he'll say, "I have 18 interceptions in my first 3 years. Give me money now."
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
And I can
Give me
promise
my
this
money.
this what's gonna happen next year. This is my prediction on Micah.
Yeah.
Right now, Micah's like, hey, I'll do this. I'll play linebacker. I'll play edge. Whatever you want to do, And then he'll get another 12, 13 sacks, and a lot of them will be coming from the outside. And his agent will be talking, all right, your third year, let's be a defensive end. Because the franchise tag for defensive ends and linebackers is a lot
Way
different.
different, yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that conversation happens at some point.
It's a wonderful point. And going back to Mike Gesicki, he's like, man, I'm basically a receiver, and y'all are tagging me as an end. Cowboys are going to be like, yeah, you're getting the 5th-year option as a linebacker, sir, not as a pass rusher.
but
we ain't doing that.
But then my thought would be, well, then go beat Trayvon Diggs then. Go beat Trayvon Diggs every single play because I bet you you're not doing that. I bet you you're beating that hybrid role and you're beating some corners, but you're also beating tight ends as well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something they're probably going to have to at some point address because there are lots of roles in the NFL that are now becoming hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not as simple as just saying, well, you get the tag at this position because there are players that play multiple positions based upon kind of how the team utilizes them. All right, real quick, what happens with I guess Blake at this point? Are they on the hook for his contract? Are they going to maybe would you look at the option of maybe cutting him? Is that even a possibility? What do they do at this point with Blake Jarwin for the money that they have sunk?
Man, you have
Yeah.
heard some of this.
I did. I probably had a 10-minute conversation about Blake Jarwin and still don't understand it. It's a little bit different, but he's got options. He doesn't have a lot of options.
Cowboys have options.
Yeah, the Cowboys have options. It's probably going to be a reduction or a cut, I think. But because he's injured and needs the rehab, it's one of those things he kind of has to bet on himself. That's the way I took it. If there's an injury protection program, if he is released, he can make, I think, $2 million. But if he bets on himself to say, hey, I'm going to play and try to work this thing back out, and it doesn't ever happen, then he screws himself out of that money. So I think what will happen is they may rework his deal or maybe even release him and then re-sign him. Keep him back. Keep him
Reduced type.
much reduced, and so he can rehab here. We all know what they think of the rehab guys here, and that'll probably be what happens. But they're going to have to get some of that money
But at
back.
this point, why not just cut him? Because
could.
I've always been a fan of Blake Jarwin, and I've seen his potential. But it's been unfortunate. I feel like would be the third year where he's like affected by some kind of injury that has left him out of the field. So at this point, it's like it just feels that you're simply, and it's sad to say, but you're simply not gonna get much out of him, even if he recovers from this.
Right.
I think it's a thing teams do with players they have relationships that they like. They're going to get some of his money back by hook or by crook. Like they're not just going to let that sit there. But say, hey, absolutely, give this a go. Try to rehab this injury. We'll keep you here. We'll take care of you. We don't just want to throw you out on the street.
Yeah. It's kind of the right thing to do.
Yeah, and that tends to happen with guys that they've built relations with. I mean, Blake and his wife live here in the area. I mean, that's very common with players. So they'll find a way to get some of that money back. But you're not just like, oh, sorry, go do something else. You're out of here.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to jump into free agency. We've got a whole list of guys the Cowboys have or had on their roster last year that will become free agents next week, and we'll have you guys answer the question, what do you want to happen and what do you think actually happens? We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to the break.
All right, guys, I'm going to break some news that you guys probably have not heard.
Uh-oh.
WrestleMania is coming to AT&T Stadium.
No way.
Yes.
What?
2 days.
What?
2-day event.
Shocking.
April 2nd, April 3rd. Do you guys know where you can get tickets?
No.
SeatGeek.
Oh, there we go. SeatGeek.
Oh, yeah, SeatGeek. Yeah.
So no one does listen to these reads. All right, so maybe I really should read. All right. WWE's coming to WrestleMania 2-day event. I'm sure Dave's going. You going?
I don't know.
Thinking about it?
Those are
pretty pricey tickets.
Pricey tickets.
Yeah. But you know.
It's going to be stupendous.
It's going to be stupendous.
I heard Stone Cold's coming back. Stone Cold's supposed to. Stone Cold's wrestling at this WrestleMania.
Wrestling or just drinking a beer?
He's wrestling.
Yeah.
He accepted somebody's offer to fight. I don't remember the guy's name.
Oh, yeah.
It was all over social
I heard about
yesterday.
that, and I've never heard of the guy.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I saw that. It was like, oh, I've never heard of this guy before. But I heard
we're old fogies.
Stone Cold's going to be there then.
Rock? Is he coming back? The Rock?
I think so. I think he's busy with football.
Can I get in advance so I can buy those tickets? I don't know.
What if I give you tickets?
I'm in. Let's go.
You be in?
Yes.
But,
I'll be there if I don't have to pay for it, for sure.
Well, but if you did have to pay for it, I'm sure SeatGeek.com would be very good in helping you get that if you're not to the point where your boss is just going to hand you tickets, because that doesn't happen. The biggest
question is
Roman Reigns.
Not even.
What?
Not even. Is Bad Bunny gonna be there? Do you even know who Bad Bunny is?
Of course I know who Bad Bunny is.
Thank you.
But he just played at the AAC 2 weeks ago. Was he coming back? Did you miss that?
He played at the AAC?
He played at American Airlines within the last month.
Yes. He has a concert that's gonna be at AT&T Stadium. other than that one. So he's coming back to Dallas again.
It's a big jump. It's a big jump to play at American Airlines and then go over and play at AT&T.
Yeah, from what I understand, he can pack both.
Clearly, if you can pack the AT&T, you can probably pack.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
he do like a Garth.
He's
Brooks
got that
thing
kind of following
where he just like I'm gonna sign up as many shows that sell out. I think that's what Garth Brooks does. He's like one night, 2 nights, 3 nights. The 4th night didn't sell out, so okay, I do 4 nights, and that's it.
And until they don't sell out anymore, that's
but smaller venues like that, they'll just do the one. So.
Keep running back.
Anyways, I'm waiting
Bad
for the
Bunny.
news for him to be at
a wrestler?
WrestleMania.
Is he at
He
the-
does
Let me
wrestle
call him.
too,
I'll
so
call him.
please do.
I'll let you know
Well, it's a 2-night event. I mean, I guarantee they can squeeze him in. It's one of the
He fought The Miz in WrestleMania 37.
You mean from Road Rules or something?
Yes.
Yeah. The Miz.
Y'all are killing me.
He was Real World, actually.
Real World,
Real
whatever.
World 10, New York.
Yeah.
I know that.
Real World. You said 10?
I think it was.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up.
Oh crap! Don't. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong on that.
I was about to
one.
say, I don't know if you necessarily want to be like the guy that knows every real
that's one of
world.
those shows. Everyone's got their show that they're not proud of watching. I would watch the Road Rules and Real World Challenge and stuff like that. I would watch that. That's one. What? Okay, Big Brother. Like seriously,
I'm not ashamed of Big Brother. I
Okay.
got Dave hooked on Big Brother. Big Brother's a good show.
Everyone's got
absolutely great
Funny.
show. All right, let's talk about free agency.
That's Cowboys Nation
Way
is
to
like
go. Way
approaching
to go,
the
Nick.
ledge, and we're talking
You should
about
be so proud.
Real World Road
10th
Rules
season.
Challenge.
Mike. His name was Mike. Mike Tamiz.
2001.
All right, let's talk free agency. All right.
Are we going to talk about Amari real quick?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to talk
I
about?
mean, before we jumped into the whole list of free agent guys and all that, I mean, I just
got something to
make
say.
it.
She does. She's been waiting all week for this. So I'm like, give her the floor.
Well, the
Let's
problem
go.
is I'm coming off our Spanish show on Somos, and everybody on there disagrees with me. So I'm just like, no, you guys are wrong. No, it's just like they're gonna be fine with Amari Cooper, and sure, they're gonna survive. But my thing is,
Without Amari Cooper.
Without.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, without. And this week, I've been hearing it from so many other people, just kind of voicing their opinion and how screwed, basically, the Cowboys are going to be with how, if they do, in fact, decide to cut Amari Cooper, and what you are left with at wide receiver and what you're going to do with your offense. That's going to be a complete change. So I just want one of you to make it make sense and see like what is this team going to look like really without a guy like Amari Cooper on the team. And even if you're like drafting a wide receiver, which I know you guys have been mentioning on the draft show and all that, there are multiple guys, but what like somebody speak.
I don't think they're going to be better with that. I really don't. They believe that they can, but they also believe it'll be cheaper, and then that's what they'd rather put those resources on the tight end, like David mentioned. It's easier to fix that, safety and all that. I think Amari Cooper is one of the top receivers in the NFL. He doesn't play to the level of his contract, and that's the issue. But if he's willing to work on the deal and restructure it, which it sounds like he is, then I just don't understand this. I really can't see why they would do this.
Here's my thing. I think you look across the NFL, look at all the teams that were in the playoffs. If the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb, if they can get Gallup re-signed, which it sounds like that's on track, and they probably will end up doing that, and and Dave can speak to this. This seems to be a draft where you've got plenty of wide receivers that you could select first round, second round, maybe even third round that can jump in and play for you day one. That wide receiver core is good enough for you to be competitive next year. That won't be the reason why you're not successful, in my opinion. So are they going to be better when you lose a guy like Amari Cooper? Probably not. And you are betting on the fact that this draft pick is all of a sudden going to be able to play in the NFL. There's a lot of ifs in there. All I'm saying is I don't think that becomes a situation if those three things play out where you got CeeDee, Gallup, and you've got this draft pick that's a first or second round pick, maybe third round pick, that you won't be able to compete, and you're going to be looking at it like, man, these receivers just suck. I can't do anything. You've got what you consider to be a star wide receiver that was a first round draft pick. That's the Green Bay Packers. They got one receiver. He's really, really good. Now, I'm not saying CeeDee's that, but you kind of want to find out if he can be that. So all I'm saying is,
who else is with the Packers?
Yeah, let's don't compare. I hate that
that's not. No,
comparison.
my point is still, you look at the wide receiver core. This is not a wide receiver core at that point that you look at it and say they don't have any talent at wide receiver. They will have talent at wide receiver. The question still becomes, can this offensive line block? Can Dak do what he's supposed to do? Can Kellen Moore call the right plays? Like, that's more the issue, in my opinion, than the wide receivers will be if you don't have Amari on this team.
I guess. You talk about all the teams that went deep in the playoffs. They all have pretty badass groups of pass catchers. I mean, the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Bengals, yes.
The Bengals. The Rams had Woods and Kupp at the start of the season, went and got Beckham. It's a pretty nice little group. The Niners have Debo, Ayuk, and George Kittle, who's like the best pass-catching tight end other than Kelsey.
Let's slow down.
Ayuk was a 900-yard receiver this year.
I get that, but Ayuk is not a great wide receiver. He is a good wide receiver.
Is he Gallup?
Yeah, I think so.
But see...
You need three of these guys.
There's no way Mike McCarthy should sign off on this. He has to maybe sign off on it, but I bet you he's not happy about it because we all know that if this doesn't go well for the Cowboys, if they do the exact same thing they did this year, I don't think he'll be the coach next year. Everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how can he be excited about this? He's got CeeDee Lamb, who's never proven he could be a number one, but he's going to have to be because that's his role. Michael Gallup's going to probably start the year on PUP. I can't imagine him being ready. I hope that's not true, but he got.
You have to at least consider it as a possibility.
Yeah. So then now you got to draft a receiver. Even if you draft 24, even if you draft in the first round, there's no guarantee that guy's going to be ready to go. So you're hoping that all this is better this year, and if it doesn't, you're out.
So let me ask you this. That all being said, and seeing how all you guys feel about this, why do you think the Cowboys, if reports are accurate, why do you think they are so hell-bent on he's not going to be here then?
Because they want to do it their way.
They
don't want to pay that number, which, by the way, I'm so sick of hearing about it. Is he playing worth $20 million? Mike Williams just got $20 million a year yesterday, 28 guaranteed up front. He's a much better receiver. The cap is exploding and players are getting more expensive. I'm sick of hearing about it. So, you pay for it or you don't. I don't give a damn if it's $20 million. Like, that's what it costs to have a good receiver.
But is the money even really the issue? Because
it goes hand in hand.
But my point is, I would guess, and this is a guess. This is not something that I'm basing on something else. This is a guess. I would guess if they went to Amari and said, hey, we'd really like to restructure your contract, and we'd like to give you a little less money. Maybe get it down to 16, 14. I'm guessing there's a conversation to be had there. Maybe they don't come to a conclusion that actually works, but I'm guessing there's a conversation. So is money really the issue here, is what I'm asking.
I think it goes hand in hand, and I absolutely think, which is ironic, like all of the things that make Amari, he's a reserved guy. He's a worldly guy. He reads all the time. He plays chess. He's got interests outside of football. He's not this alpha personality. It's really refreshing when you get rid of Des Bryant and bring that in.
You skipped one, but
what?
No, go ahead.
Wait, no.
No, you were right, but you also skipped another thing that maybe is a factor, maybe it isn't.
The vaccination?
Yeah,
it's worth it. No, I mean
that's.
I say this.
It's that big? Like, okay,
I hope it's not, but I mean,
it
what
just
else
doesn't.
is it?
It doesn't make sense.
That's the point.
It doesn't make any sense.
And that's the question I'm asking all you guys. That's exactly the question I'm asking.
Finish that point, Dave.
But no, I don't think they're like, this guy's not vaccinated. He can't stay here because. Also, by the way, the league just got rid of all those rules anyway. It's a non-factor now. I don't think that helped, and I don't have to guess. Jerry Jones called him out publicly in the middle of the season. He said, this is a we thing. It's not a me thing. You check me at the door. He said that on the radio. So it's clearly something that frustrated them. He missed 2 games because of it.
Right.
And during a time of the year when they were struggling. And then add that onto the fact of like, you know, Amari was frustrated in the home stretch of the year. He said it himself. He was like, I wish I had more opportunities to get the ball. And yeah, I think the elements of his personality that, like I said, it's ironic. We found it so refreshing 3-4 years ago. I think it wears on people. I think it wears on football people. I don't think it's a coincidence. John Gruden was desperate to get him out of there because that is like the antithesis of John Gruden. Like, John Gruden wants you to guzzle motor oil and just eat nails and talk about football 24 hours a day. And there are a lot of people in this league where if that's not what you're about, get the hell out of here. I don't have time for that.
And that also brings me back to what I was trying to get to is, do you think that maybe I personally don't think he would be released because he didn't get vaccinated. I do think that maybe him not getting vaccinated is just another example, if maybe this is the case, where maybe there's a feeling that he's not as much a team guy as they want him to be.
Right.
Do you think that maybe that's more of the issue? And maybe the money isn't, like, the money is the red herring, but really it's really more to this story than just the money.
And the guys over there will poke holes in some of this game on the field, but I think it's more nitpicking from the first part of it. But I mean, we can argue this all day, but I'm actually tired of hearing the part about Amari missed 2 games because he wasn't vaccinated. I don't believe that. That's not accurate.
Why is it not?
Because people are forgetting the reason. Okay, he got COVID. That happened. People get COVID. You get COVID. Now, maybe you wouldn't have missed the first game against the Chiefs because you wouldn't have been tested every day, but he still had COVID and he had symptoms. So if you have symptoms, hold on, let me finish. Okay. If you have symptoms, then you have to get tested for it. And then it just so happened that they played a game 4 days later. So he got COVID before the Chiefs game. It doesn't matter if he's vaccinated or not. He's not playing the Raiders.
Yes, but that also ignores the science that the percentage chance of getting COVID when you're vaccinated is less. So he may not have, that's fact. That is science, Nick. That is science. Okay. They have statistics that back it up. That people who have been vaccinated have a lower percentage chance of getting COVID. Like that was something that was tested and verified.
Okay.
A lot of vaccinated people got sick.
Absolutely, they did. Absolutely, they did.
Let's do this.
Let's
get into the vaccination weeds.
But either way, whatever. I think that's like, looking at it now, regardless of it, it sounds very ridiculous from my perspective that would be the reason as to making a big change like this when you're trying to get to the Super Bowl, do this and that.
Yes.
There's no way that's just it. So in my opinion, there has to be something more. And if he was to get cut and it happens, I feel like maybe we'll start hearing something else kind of popping out, like, this was actually going on behind.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I'm saying, Amber. Is I'm not saying it was the vaccination. I'm saying that was the vaccination just one more sign of other things that make them say he's not as much of a team guy as we want him to be.
Also, we've seen.
Hurt? Does he play hurt?
Yes.
Plays hurt a lot.
Yeah, there was a time he didn't.
When?
Wasn't that the?
He's always been dealing with
the Jets game.
Jets game.
You're right.
Jets game.
The Jets game.
I'm about to say I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about the right guy, but let's just be clear.
You're right. But this guy plays through injury. He
Yeah.
does. He'll get that little gun and he'll put it on this and go out there and run.
When it's never one thing. That's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that it creates questions about buy-in, but I think that stuff is always a convenient excuse when you're already frustrated. Like, he missed 2 games and he only had 78 catches this year. And look at it, is he finishing this block as well as he could be? What was he doing on? And like, you're just coming up with reasons and
talking yourself into it.
Yeah, and that's just where we are. And all of a sudden, it's like infallible logic that this is what you should do. For opposite reasons, it happened with Dez too. If you go back, if you think about it, it's like, well, he's been hurt. Is he as explosive as he used to be? That's when the reports start leaking, like Dez doesn't come to meetings. That was never a problem when he was catching 16 touchdowns.
We had heard some of the things. It just wasn't out in the general public.
But you put up with it when you feel like you're getting your investment. Right. And then, he calls out Linehan and Garrett and says they're not doing their jobs the right way. And now here we are 3 months later cutting him. Like, it's always a snowball effect in these situations.
No doubt.
Well, that was after he got cut.
Hey, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what he thinks, Amari. Will you send me to the Pro Bowl next year? Because I'll go to the Pro Bowl and cover it. Oh yeah, he'll be there. He'll be like a.
Tell me what team he's on, then I'll tell you if I.
He'll be a 1,200 yard, 88 catch guy, and he'll be at the Pro Bowl, and he'll be like, I don't really care. I mean,
so let me ask you this:
it is what it is.
So do you guys not put?
I would have liked to be in Dallas, but it just didn't work out that way.
Hey, that was cute though. Those, CD had a nice 75 catches, and Gallup had 45 coming back from injury. It was a good year.
So do you put anything on the fact that Like, his production this year, I don't think was as good as most of us would have expected. There was a year, either not last year or a year before, when he had all the struggles on the road. Like, there have been times in his career where he hasn't been as consistent as you'd want him to be, and that can create the sort of situation where you're like, is he really a $20 million wide receiver? Do you guys put any stock in that, in just his production? Let's forget about the money for a second, or at least talk about the money in the context of the amount of production that you get from him.
It's the second time in his career that he hasn't had 1,000 yards. Second time. The first time he was still with the Raiders. No, he had a 92 catch, 1,100 yard season in a year when he only played with Dak for like 4.5 games or whatever it was, 5 games. No, I still think he's a great receiver. He was 38th in the league in targets. And again, like, I don't care about the number. Like, it is what it is. Like, is he a top 5 receiver? No. Is that the way the market works, where like the guy is next and it just is what it is? Yes.
As we see with Mike Williams.
I absolutely think he's like one of the 10 to 12 best receivers in the NFL, and his resume stacks up with that, and find a better way to use him.
That's what I was going to say. That's another thing. It's like, you have to take into consideration some of the things that you guys have mentioned about, like, maybe Kellen Moore and then the game plan of not, and he wouldn't be complaining in the middle of the season that he's not getting the ball if he himself hasn't been seeing how things are going down. So he knows very well, and we've seen it. And also there were times where even CeeDee Lamb wasn't getting the ball. So it's just, Kellen Moore, what are you doing with them? Try to get your best players the ball.
I can't believe we're in a world where it's like, Amari, like, you got to go. It's too much. Instead of being like, hey, Kellen, fix it.
So many of these offensive problems, we end up talking back to Kellen. What's going on?
I'm so glad AG brought up CD, because again, this is a team where you had Amari and CD out there at the same time. CD caught one ball for 21 yards in the playoff game. He was targeted 5 times. I guarantee you the first one didn't come until close to halftime, or maybe even after halftime. He disappeared from a game that Amari was also playing. And so that doesn't do wonders for my confidence that he's just going to ball the hell out when he's the focal point of the defensive game plan, which he will be, by the way, because Michael Gallup is hurt. And also his career high for catches is 66 in a year. We're mad about Amari catching 78. Michael's is 66. That's his best ever. Yeah. You talk about adding a rookie who maybe you find a Justin Jefferson, just maybe you find a guy that can ball out from day one. Michael Gallup's first year, he caught 33 passes for 500 yards. Like, that is a realistic idea of what you're getting from a rookie, unless it's like the best guy in the class. So just don't sell me that this is an improvement. If you insist on doing it, that's fine, but I don't have to believe that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks. I honestly don't even think they believe it's an improvement necessarily. I think they feel like it's the way to move their team forward, because sometimes you got to make those kind of decisions when it comes to a salary cap. Like, I honestly don't think anybody believes this is making you better. I don't know how you could come to that conclusion.
That is the problem. That's why fans should be mad, because right now, every year that goes by, there's a number that gets attached to it now. That's the way it didn't start this way when I was here, but now it's 26. And next year it's 27 and 28 since you've done anything. And that they don't have that sense of urgency that the fans have, because the fans are mad because it's so much past due. And they're talking about doing things, let's kind of redo the receiver room, when to me, this team is close. It's right here.
Yeah.
You're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC going into the season. You should be in the mix.
Are you still without Amari Cooper?
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. You're close. You're there. You've got your quarterback. You've got your offense. You've got all the coordinators came back. Put your chips in. Push to the middle. Let's do it. Let's go get the Von Miller that trade next year's 2. Trade next year's 1 if you think you can go do it. This fan base deserves that opportunity because they have been loyal for so long and they're pissed off. You know what? Quit thinking to the future. Win now, damn it, win. And they're not doing it.
Not only that, I don't even know if you have to push your chips all the way in. That's the frustrating thing. And I'm sorry, I don't know the number. you can restructure Amari. They've done it to everybody else in the world, but they're just like, oh, the guy that's actually lived up to his deal, I don't want to touch that money.
Yeah.
And the irony, and yeah, last season was disappointing by his standards, but like Amari is the one major deal that they've done that looks good right now. I'm not counting Dak. That's fine. But like,
I mean, from the moment he got here, the offense has been clicking for the most part. Yeah.
Jalen, disaster. Zeke, borderline disaster. Or very much. It's
not happy.
It's not good.
Right, not happy.
And
I don't know about disaster.
On
but
top
not
of on top of the diminishing returns, the way it's structured, they can't touch him. And that sucks for like they can't do anything with him. And if they restructure him, then you just push this into the future. They're up S Creek in that regard. And that's why it's going to hurt a guy that's doing more to help the team. Lyle Collins, not a disaster, but like has not panned out the way that they wanted it to. It just hasn't, and that sucks. I love Lyle as a person.
Is that about our own expectations?
Tank? Yeah.
Is that about our own expectations though? Like we see the money, and then immediately our expectations go way up. And really, when the money is not necessarily an indication they're going to be better, it just is an indication that's where the market is.
I don't think so.
Be here.
Yeah,
the money is that's just how you keep them here.
Right. Also, Lyle was a bargain deal. That was and again, like I don't want to call that a bust just yet. It's just been disappointing relative to the expectation. But like he signed for $10 million a year. Yeah. That's a bargain. That was hey, we think you're ascending into the top flight of right tackles, and we're just going to pay you now. You didn't get a big deal when you got drafted. Let's just take care of everybody. And he's sort of plateaued instead of continuing to move up. That's just it is what.
So
it is.
essentially, what you're saying is they've drafted pretty good. And free agency, even free agency when it comes to their own players, that's where they haven't been as good.
They have not. Zach Martin, Amari, and I'll throw Dak in there. I'm sure plenty of people disagree, but like those are the three big deals that they've given out in the last few years that don't look bad right now.
Yeah, Tyron. Whatever restructure they did.
I mean, Tyron was almost a decade ago at this point.
Yeah.
That tells you how great that deal was for them. Like, it was a really great deal.
Tyron signed that extension in 2014. It's 2022. Yeah. And that'll never happen again where a guy is just like, yeah, underpay me. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
So
it's fair. That's what he says. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I mean, basically. So
he doesn't like talking to the media. He probably doesn't even like talking to the Jones family. Like, whatever.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. What will keep me from having to come up here and sign something ever again? Cool. Let's do it. I don't know, man. It's the consequences of their own actions that have put them in this position, and it's very frustrating to think that. I believe they are going to weaken their team as a result of it. I don't want to speak too soon because they will add guys in free agency. Things will happen. For the record, they haven't cut Amari yet.
Yeah.
Worth pointing out. I mean, maybe a trade could still materialize. Who knows?
Don't expect the trade. Don't expect this Russell Wilson type of like
3 first rounders.
No, don't expect any first rounder or a second.
I think a third.
I think a third round pick would probably be the best thing.
But honestly, you get what you get at this point.
They'll take a fourth or fifth.
If everybody's talking about the fact he's going to be released, then that means all the other teams out there are saying y'all probably going to release him.
And there's no compensatory pick if you cut a guy. There's no compensatory.
Not only that, I hope I would trade him for like a fourth. I've been joking with Nick for the last week. Like he'll be in Philly 36 hours after he gets cut, signing a deal. That's what happens when notable Cowboys get cut. They go to the East. Always. Philly needs a receiver. Philly has money. Philly probably wants to make life easier on their young quarterback.
Dolphins
would scare the bejesus out of me.
I would love.
And then he'll kill it wherever he's at.
He goes to the Dolphins.
I would love for him to go to the
Go anywhere else.
Yeah,
go to the AFC. Yeah.
Somewhere in the AFC.
But that's my point is, even if you only get a fourth-round pick back for him, if you can control where he goes, I mean, if you're hell-bent on him not being part of your team, at least get him away from you. Yeah. Go play for the Dolphins where I only have to see you once every 4 years.
I'm sure the Eagles would be happy to try to pull him over there as much as he's hurt them.
Every time the notable Cowboy parts ways, DeMarcus Ware being maybe the one exception, and he's a lifetime Cowboy. He wasn't going to do that.
He wasn't going to do it. He could have done it.
I guarantee you, somebody offered him a deal in the East.
He's actually talked about that and said he wouldn't. That was one thing.
I can't do it. I'm not doing this to the Cowboys. Who cut him?
Not everybody has that type of loyalty to the organization.
Some of the other guys. I'm trying to think of some other guys.
Jason Hatcher, Orlando Scandrick. I know I'm.
Did Skandrick have somewhere else he went before he went to back to the East? I thought
he played for Washington, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. I don't know.
There's more. I know there's more. I can't think of them all right
Chris
now.
Canny went on to win a Super Bowl.
Chris Canny went to the Giants.
Chris Canny thinks of himself more as a Giants guy than a Cowboys guy.
He won Super Bowls with the Giants. Yeah. No, but there have been others just in the time that I've worked here. I'll do some digging during the break.
All right, we're gonna take our final break. Amber just killed that segment, but probably something we needed to talk about. But we're gonna go to our final break. We'll come back. We're gonna talk about free agents. We'll zip through a little bit of this list. We'll save some of it for next week. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to the break.
Essler Lenses lets you see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essler experts. Find the perfect Essler lens for you. See more, do more, Essler.
Welcome back to the final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's talk about free agents. I got a whole list here. There's no way we're going to finish this list in the 13 minutes we have left in this show. So let's try to focus in on some. Actually, let's focus in on the wide.
Jordan is listening live. DeMarco Murray obviously was a huge one. He went to Philly. And we said
nothing there.
I know for a fact Washington tried to sign Amari when he hit free agency 2 years ago. NFC East teams love to scoop these guys up. They just do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'll happen with Amari.
Amari's one I don't want to see in the NFC East.
No.
I do still think
Giants
he's a very,
scooped
very
up
good
Jason Garrett.
No,
the one thing I will say though, I will say though is if he goes to, I'll say it, any other NFC East team right now, I'm a little less concerned because he just doesn't have the trigger man to necessarily get the ball to him in a consistent way. So I'm okay with that.
I don't like it, but go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. We don't need to derail your segment.
All right, I tell you what has been a win though, real quick, is that Aaron Rodgers is going back to Green Bay, and Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. I mean, Washington, even the Giants, the Eagles, all with these chances of getting this. That was good.
Supposedly, Russell, there were two options on the table. It was Washington and Denver, and he opted for Denver, which I was very happy for. I do think Washington becomes a very legitimate team if they get a quarterback.
Denver is a very legitimate roster that was only missing a QB.
Yeah.
Also, until Washington shows any proof that they are run more competently, I don't know why you would go there. But
That's
All right,
probably true.
free agency.
All right, let's
go.
talk about free agency. Let's actually talk about the wide receiver position because they got a little bit of everything. You got Michael Gallup, who it sounds like maybe the Cowboys are going to get a deal done with. You got Noah Brown, who already has gotten signed back. He's going to be here. You've got Cedric Wilson, who you don't know what's going to happen with him. You got even a younger guy like Malik Turner, who's I thought flashed last year, but maybe they don't even consider him. What do you think happens in free agency with the wide receiver position? First from the standpoint of what do you want to happen? And then second, from the standpoint of what do you think will happen?
What do I want to happen?
Yes.
Well, I
stay.
wanted to start with Amari staying.
Yeah, we already said that. Yeah, we got you.
In the path that I think that they're going down, it sounds like I would imagine the Gallup deal needs to be done before anything happens to Cooper. Because if you don't get that done and release Amari, and then if you allow Michael to hit free agency and somebody blows him out of the water, now you're really screwed with just CD and not a whole lot else. Yeah. So I don't even. No offense to Noah.
No offense.
Noah. No offense.
Oh wow.
Noah is
really?
He's the utility
No
guy.
offense.
The bottom of the depth chart.
Everything about that's bad.
He's a special teamer.
Okay.
I think the Gallup deal will be done
Cedric Wilson
in a week. Cedric Wilson's out of here.
Gone.
Not because they don't want him, but because he'll cost too much money.
How much money is too much money?
$7 million a
7
year.
or 8.
Yeah, it's too much money.
Yep. I think
And
Cedric.
Gallup, how much?
I think
10ish, 11ish.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the size of that deal is going to surprise some people. When it comes
is,
in.
but it's also the Gallup deal is one of those win for everyone. He's going to get a deal that's probably let's just say like 5-year, $50 million, $55 million, something like that. A lot of it'll be front loaded.
I bet it'll probably be like a 2-year, $24 million deal in reality.
Yeah.
But it'll say
he'll
5.
get his money.
Yeah.
But actually, I say front loaded. It'll be more back loaded, and then they'll have a decision to make 2 or 3 years. But
because they can spread it out, the cap costs might be
right.
8, 7,
and that's why you add years to a deal. That's why all this stuff happens. It's to give people flexibility and all that type
Say
of
it's
stuff.
5-year, 50. I mean, that's it depends what the signing bonus is. It could be $20 million signing bonus, which is spread out over 5 years. That's a $4 million charge. His base could only be $1 million or $2 million, for the first couple of years, and then it balloons out. So, and plus that gives him time to rehab and stuff like that.
But I guess the point I'm making, because I know people probably heard what Dave said, 2 years, $24 million is maybe what it nets out to be, and they are like, well, just keep your guy. But I don't think it's the same thing. Like the cap cost is going to be a lot less than it would be with Amari.
Malik Turner.
Oh, go ahead.
Malik Turner probably not coming back.
You think they have an interest in him, or do they just think maybe for some reason you don't think they have an interest?
No, I think they want to get better from that. That's what I was told. I like him. I think he's good. Boy, if you're down 20, I'd put him in the game. But he's a fourth quarter guy.
Hopefully you're not down 22.
I thought he had a nice season. He blocked 1 or 2 punts on top of that, but I hate to be mean, but you find those guys. I mean, he was like the 7th receiver in training camp. There will be another guy like him. There's 5 guys on the practice squad that signed futures contracts that can vie for that role. You don't need to give him a veteran deal to keep that production. I bet you they sign, and I don't want to throw a name out there because who knows, but they'll sign a veteran receiver for very cheap, where we do the thing we always do where we're like, who? Okay, I guess he did that, and he did this and that, and the classic Cowboys maneuver. They're like, okay, this guy can be our slot if something doesn't come along, and we'll target a receiver in the first 3 rounds of the draft, and on we go.
Where does Semi fit here at this point?
Well, where? When? Because training camp, he fits right into probably the first team offense.
Well, I guess let me preface a little bit
because Gallup won't be ready. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I remember your little talk.
You're like
yesterday.
Gallup will be over here. Yeah. CD will have a little something.
Yeah. CD will have a nagging hammy. It's it's precautionary, but he's not going to practice for 4 days, and
the reason
Semi
why I
will
asked
be running
that
first team.
Is because Semi's a big body, and I was thinking maybe they were grooming him to be the Noah Brown, if you want to put it like that, the guy that's the bigger body, the guy that can kind of dip in, do a little blocking, that kind of thing. Do you see him in a similar kind of role, or do you think there's a different kind of role for him?
Noah Brown shouldn't just go and buy another house. Because if somebody can be better than that, than him, then he's a guy that could get cut. It's a 1-year deal. Yeah. He could get cut if it's for a cheaper option.
This is because they need depth. They need receivers on the roster right now, right?
Yeah. So I think Semi could fit in. He got a lot of time last year, at least practice, and didn't do a lot with it, but we say it all the time. First, second year jump. Let's see how big, how much commitment he puts in the offseason.
I'm over.
He needs to go to Dak's house.
Yeah,
if Cedric's not there,
he needs to be in the Dak yard. Yeah, which.
Do.
So I don't like assigning expectations to guys drafted that late. Like, yeah, we hope you take a jump and you can be a useful player. Cedric Wilson is a great example. He got hurt as a rookie. He spent his rookie year on IR because he separated his shoulder, and still was able to just keep developing and got built up a rapport with Dak and now he's going to have a nice payday because of it. I don't expect that from a 5th round pick. You hope for it. I'm just like, yeah, hopefully he makes a jump and becomes a useful piece of the rotation. But if not, he's a 5th round pick.
All right, we don't have much. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, am I wrong for feeling that I would rather try to get a deal done with Cedric Wilson than Michael Gallup?
No, you're not wrong with that. $7 million for Cedric Wilson, $11 million for Gallup, and Gallup's coming off a knee injury. No, you're not wrong with that. I mean, I think that's a fair.
Like even skill wise, and I know
it's
these
more
are
versatile.
But like Cedric Wilson, after some of the things that I've seen, especially last year, I mean, he's shown me things that I feel like, okay, with Dak, he has a very, very good connection with him and all that, and he seems to be effective put in the right position. So I don't know if it's like, I don't feel like Michael Gallup gives me a whole lot more than what I could get from a cheaper Cedric Wilson.
I see your logic there.
I don't disagree. Not with that.
I do.
I'm not going to go as far as to say I disagree. I talked to people in Indianapolis, like, assuming this deal gets done, they want more from Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's been their X, he's their deep ball, go get it guy. That's kind of been his MO. If he is back here as one of the top 2 pieces of this receiver core, I think they want him to be more versatile. They want him in the slot more often. They want to be able to just have him be an interchangeable receiver, which he can do, but that just really hasn't been his thing.
Right,
so
they haven't asked him to do it.
In a larger role, I'd be interested to see what else he's capable of. Because I beat the drum for Gallup for years that I think he's a highly underrated player. Mm-hmm. I'm still scared of the idea of like him not having the safety net of Amari Cooper being across from him.
Yeah.
But I think I'll take Gallup. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I think his upside's better than Cedric's. I think he still has more that he can show you. I think we've seen kind of the peak of what Cedric is going to be. I don't know that I feel the same way about Gallup. I think Gallup has some more. Now, I will say this. I'll ask this question. Do you guys, let's assume right now he's not injured. Does that change your opinion, Amber and Nick? Like, would you then say, yeah, absolutely, Gallup's the guy you go after? Is really the injury what's coloring this?
Yeah, injury's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. But even if he was healthy, I mean, think about, like, we're talking about a $4 million a year difference.
Yeah.
And what if that's the difference of not signing Jaron Kearse back? Because you can't. I mean, would you rather have Jaron Kearse and Cedric Wilson, or just Michael Gallup, and then the safety that you don't draft? Or so I don't know what they're going to do with safety.
It makes me think of like those dolls that nestle inside of each other, because that's just a different version of the same conversation. Would you rather have Amari Cooper or Dalton Schultz and Michael Gallup? Well, would you rather have Michael Gallup or Cedric Wilson and Jaron Kearse? Like, how far down the rabbit hole can we go here?
And that's right. But
a little
yeah.
But I said it at one point last year. I thought, man, I think Cedric Wilson may be better than Michael Gallup. He's definitely more versatile, could do more things.
And I don't feel like we've seen the peak. I don't of Cedric Wilson. I think he can still show you some more or maybe given the time, I think there is possibility and to really find out if that is really his peak or not. But I think it's too soon to say he's reached his peak.
I will throw this in there, though. I don't think there's another receiver. You go back to last season, I don't think there was a receiver on this team other than Gallup that really gave you a consistent threat downfield. Like, he was their best downfield threat. I don't think Cedric's going to give you that. So he brings that to the table that I think
like
is
3
unique.
games.
I know, but I'm saying, like, that's his game. Like, he's a guy that's a deep threat option. Who else is going to give you that? Who else does that consistently?
If this is
well, he's gone. Right. we think he might be gone. So
if this is what we're doing, I mean, it needs to be CD. And I honestly feel like the argument is so toxic about what to do with Amari. Like, the CD's got to step up. Like, honestly. And I think he's a really good player, but like in relation to the hype and the like, my God, I can't believe the league let him fall to 17. He hasn't lived up to that, in my opinion, especially with Jordan Jefferson drafted behind him, just setting the league on fire.
And he's got a good receiver, a good route-running veteran receiver across from him, too, in Adam Thielen.
So, yeah, absolutely.
So,
does, yeah.
I just... This is about CD for me. It should be CD. And again, Kellen Moore, find a way to do it, man. I mean, like, he is a very talented receiver. He's your number one in a world where Amari's not here. I'm not worried about Gallup and Cedric Wilson. Yeah. So that's where I look. He caught a touchdown on a go ball against the Giants in like week 6. And it was like one of the only like long downfield touchdowns I can remember him ever scoring. And that needs to be an element of his game. There's so much stuff he needs to be able to do.
I just think about that play that he got hurt on.
Patriots, the crossing route. You're right.
Deep cross.
You're right.
I think about that play that he got hurt on, and I'm just like, man, that level of athleticism.
Oh, Gallup.
Cedric doesn't have that. He just doesn't have that. I think this guy has a little more.
I don't know. Cedric had a spinning touchdown against Carolina. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you think it was better than that catch that he got hurt? That the catch that Gallup got hurt on?
That was an outstanding play.
And by the way, he does that on the sideline. He makes some catches on the sideline. He makes some catches on the sideline. It's just like, how did he make that catch?
But
his level of athleticism, I think, is just
Mike has
really
nowhere near the frame of Dez, but is like his ability to go get the ball is comparable in my opinion, which is crazy to say. His touchdown against the Saints, his touchdown against the Cardinals while tearing his ACL. I mean,
Michael Gallup's best play like that, 95% of the world didn't see. We saw it.
The fence?
The fence.
The world saw it.
That's true.
We videoed the whole
we
thing.
did get a good video of it. Remember, they flipped over the fence. And then the best part was the next day. There was no fence.
Right. Get rid of that fence.
I was like, get rid of this fence.
Probably. We'll just have the media there.
There's no fans. Like what do we got the fence for?
He doesn't get credit for how athletic he really is.
He got that shot.
Yeah.
And also, ACLs are easier to come back from than they ever have been. But it gives you pause when you're like, okay, we're rolling with a guy that's probably going to miss training camp.
Yeah.
And letting go of, in my opinion, one of the 10 or 12 best receivers in the league to do it.
Yeah.
It's scary.
All right, we appreciate you guys, Jonas. We'll be back next week.
How many of your guys do we get to? Like 2?
4. We got the receivers. Okay. Because Amber killed the show. But that's okay. That's okay. We got plenty of time next week.
Y'all kept talking.
We need to talk. I mean, I'm about to send a message here to William to name this show, and it's going to be about Amari.
Yeah, it has to be. That's where we spent most of our time, and it got pretty lively in here too. So
okay,
it's good.
So now looks like you need to be setting the show now.
You're welcome for a better show than just who we're keeping from.
By the way, feel free to program all of these shows.
Yeah.
I would be so happy if you gave me a rundown every week.
You.
I will follow your
script. I'm sure
script.
people appreciated the Amari talk rather than Jeremy Sprinkle.
You're absolutely right about that. All right, appreciate you guys, Joe. So we'll be back next week. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break Live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?